The first update we have today is the current production challenges facing the upcoming season 15 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. So basically, internal sources are indicating producers are kind of struggling to find a clear path forward for the new season. Seems a recent test filming didn't exactly impress them. Yeah, the key disappointment was this test filming. Involved Melissa Gorga, Margaret Josephs, Dolores Catania, and some potential newbies. But word is, producers were just not overly thrilled with the content they captured. And well, this failure has apparently sent production right back to square one, leaving a lot of uncertainty about how to even move ahead. Now, one definite cast change we do know about: Jennifer Aydin. She confirmed she will not be returning for the new season, pointing out she hadn't even been invited to BravoCon. But, you know, even if the rest of the cast came back, the main drama, it's still there. The existing issues haven't gone anywhere. We still have Danielle Cabral, who strongly dislikes Teresa Giudice. Margaret Josephs and Teresa Giudice still have those issues. Rachel Fuda doesn't get along with Teresa. And poor Dolores Catania remains kind of stuck right in the middle of all this. There was an attempt at reconciliation, apparently. Teresa Giudice reportedly reached out to Joe Gorga to try and make peace within the family. Now, that could potentially open up some filming opportunities with Melissa Gorga, sure, but it really doesn't solve the other major feuds. So the result is things just remain in limbo, and honestly, no filming start date has been scheduled yet for season 15 at all. Before we get into the next update, please make sure you've liked this video and subscribed to this channel. Okay, then let's move on to next update now.
Next, we are going to talk about the recent appearance of RHOC's Gina Kirschenheiter on Watch What Happens Live, or WWHL. She was there unpacking that pretty controversial season 19 finale and, you know, teasing the reunion. So a lot of the drama she got into was about those posts that former cast member Gretchen Rossi apparently liked, the ones people found offensive. Gina basically said Gretchen's reaction, or lack thereof, was just odd. She called it a no-response response and felt like Gretchen's silence was kind of painful and didn't read good for her. And then, remember when Gretchen called her partner Slade Smiley? Well, Gina thought that was the absolute worst thing she could have done. She described his defense as very poor, especially him trying to say, well, Tamra Judge did it too. Gina felt the cast reaction, while intense, was actually appropriate for the situation. Speaking of Tamra, Gina also talked about the claims that Tamra set her up to bring up Gretchen's posts over at Jennifer Pedrante's house. Gina admitted she was really pissed during that chat because she felt like she was being portrayed unfairly, but she stated pretty clearly that she didn't feel Tamra actually set her up. Gina explained she made the choice herself to talk about the posts because, you know, those kinds of rumors have to be addressed. Gina didn't just point fingers, though. She also took some accountability for her own comments about Heather Dubrow's comedy career, admitting they were maybe a little too unkind and unnecessarily mean. Looking ahead to the reunion, Gina teased that she felt it went pretty well overall, and that a lot of wrinkles ironed out, although Andy Cohen did confirm that all hell broke loose at the end, so we'll see. Finally, her rose and thorn for the season. Her rose was doing shrooms with Shannon Bedore and Heather. She called it a trifecta and one of the best moments of her life. Her thorn? That was watching her friend Emily Simpson struggling with family difficulties involving Luke. So this was today's update about Gina Kirschenheiter's RHOC season wrap-up. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about Kyle Richards potentially quitting The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay, so Kyle Richards, right? She just dropped her 15th season, which is, wow, a long time. And she's been opening up about maybe leaving the Bravo reality series. She even said the day she walks away obviously will come. She admitted, 15 years is a huge commitment and she has things I want to do. Plus, the time demands are pretty significant, especially with her daughter Portia heading off to college soon. Now, she clarified this isn't a totally new thought. She apparently almost walked away way back in season 2 and season 5 too. But things got really tough more recently. During season 14, right after her split from Mauricio Wamsky, she actually briefly left production. She explained she was really struggling with depression and anxiety back then, felt like friends were coming at her, and it was all just too much. Honestly, she described that as the closest she's ever gotten to not coming back. So why did she return? Well, she said production had become like a family, a constant for 14 years. And with her marriage dissolving, she didn't want the show to become another loss taken from her life. So she did return for season 15, which is expected to premiere on Bravo later this year. So this was today's update about Kyle Richards' future on RHOBH. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about that recent conflict involving Lisa Barlow and her castmates from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So the whole thing really kicked off around Lisa's, let's call it infamous yacht escape, right? This was after Heather Gay accused her of leaking stories, and, well, that dramatic exit, it pretty much immediately sparked two totally different takes on her behavior. Now, Lisa herself explained it later, saying basically she was just super tired. She felt like if she stayed, she knew she'd say things that, yeah, were truthful, but not nice. So for her, the best move was just to back off, call her husband John, and she admitted she literally wanted off the boat. Made sense to her. However, other cast members like Whitney Rose and Mary Cosby, they saw it differently. They viewed this whole thing less like exhaustion and more like, well, a classic Lisa move. You know, a pattern of deflection. Whitney actually noted that Lisa doesn't really retreat until she realizes her usual tactics, like the confrontation stuff, aren't actually working. Her co-stars kind of characterized the whole sequence as things escalate, maybe some insults or threats, and then boom, she runs to John once people actually stand up to her. And Mary Cosby kind of threw in that Lisa only seems to need John when the argument involves, quote, too much of the truth. Ouch. But, you know, despite all that criticism about this pattern, there is another way people looked at her quick call to John. Some saw Lisa relying on her husband as, like, a really great testament to their marriage, seeing him as her safe place, her first call in an emergency. So this was today's update about the ongoing conflict and behavior patterns on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the escalating drama between Tamra Judge and Gretchen Rossi. It's all about accusations of leaking Real Housewives of Orange County info and, well, some pretty intense social media digging. So this whole thing really blew up right after the RHOC finale. See, Tamra got accused of being the leak, spilling secrets about the season's filming. Now, Tamra absolutely denied this, saying there was zero proof. But then, things took a turn. During the finale, Shannon Beador, Gina Kirschenheiter, and Jennifer Pedranti all pointed the finger at Tamra, saying she was the one feeding stuff to bloggers. Tamra shot back, claiming the info is already public knowledge, stuff filmed out in the open. But here's where it gets messy. Tamra quickly shifted the heat onto Gretchen Rossi. She jumped on a social media thread that seemed to expose Gretchen's liked posts from way back in August 2023. And, you know, this thread listed some really problematic stuff allegedly liked by Gretchen, things like racism, homophobia, transphobia, COVID misinformation, anti-abortion views. Pretty serious claims. The posts apparently suggested links between homosexuality and pedophilia, and questioned Pride Month. So Tamra used this, hitting back hard on X, basically saying to Gretchen, "Are you kidding me? All these posts are tied to me? Like I was planning this 2 years ago when you weren't even relevant? Keep lying." Ouch. Tamra even kind of leaned into this whole drama queen thing, posting a video of herself in a cape, playing Billie Eilish's bad guy, and calling herself Tamra Grudge. So yeah, it looks like we're definitely in for a wild ride at the reunion starting November 6th. So this was today's update about Tamra Judge and Gretchen Rossi. Let's now move on to next up.
Next, we are going to talk about Tom Schwartz's new romance rumors and the fan backlash over the age gap. So you might have seen Tom Schwartz, he's 43, has kind of set things off. He posted some photos celebrating model Kiana Carroll's birthday. She just turned 27. He shared snaps on his Instagram story, one saying, "Happy birthday, Kiana Carroll," and another showed them posing together with friends. Right away, everyone started buzzing. Are they dating? This actually follows his confession on Lala Kent's podcast, Untraditionally Lala, back on the October 8th episode. Remember? He admitted he was really digging somebody and that it was not just a fling. Well, fans definitely noticed the age difference. We're talking 16 years, and boy, did Reddit light up about it. A lot of the comments were kind of concerned, suggesting she's maybe too young for him. Some folks are saying, men in their 40s sometimes seek out women in their 20s because women their own age know better and just won't tolerate poor behavior. And of course, people immediately started comparing Schwartz to his former co-star, Tom Sandoval. Sandoval's also 43, and he's been dating model Victoria Lee Robinson, who's 33 since late 2023. So there's that comparison floating around. Oh, and speaking of that podcast appearance, Schwartz also got pretty real about his future. He shared that he'd be really sad and probably looking at an existential meltdown if he doesn't have children by the time he turns 50. So this was today's update about Tom Schwartz and Kiana Carroll's rumored relationship. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next we are going to talk about the controversy involving Huda Mustafa, Louis Russell, and Olundria Carthen. So what happened was, Huda Mustafa and Louis Russell, who were an Instagram official back in September, they were doing a live session taking calls from fans. During this live, things took a really bad turn when a caller used a severe racial slur against Olundria Carthen. Right after the slur, both Huda and Louis laughed on camera. Huda was then heard asking, "Yo, what did they say?" They said a bad word. Well, the fallout was pretty immediate. Both Huda and Lewis put out statements saying they absolutely do not condone racism. They claimed they didn't really hear the full context, just the slur itself, and hung up right away. Huda later explained her laughter, saying it was just kinda awkward, and suggested the caller sounded like a kid. But Olundria Carthen responded powerfully on her Instagram stories. She made it super clear that language like that carries generations of pain, and it's never okay. Not even as a joke. She added that defending it, laughing about it, or making excuses is even worse. Olundria really called for people to demonstrate a genuine commitment to anti-racism, and even posted links to organizations like the NAACP. Following that, Huda issued a second, more detailed apology. She said she was taking more fully accountability. She apologized directly to Olundria for how she reacted in the moment, explaining she was just caught off guard. Huda also promised to make a personal donation to the NAACP. So this was today's update about Huda Mustafa's apology and Olundria Carthen's statement. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about the feuds surrounding Selling Sunset Season 9. Okay, so Selling Sunset is back, right? And Season 9? Whew! The drama isn't just staying on screen, it's totally spilling over into real life, like onto social media and into interviews. So the latest, public thing involves Mary Bonet and Chrishell Stause. Mary did an interview, and she claimed she actually felt like she might have been in danger during filming. Apparently, it happened with Chelsea Lascani at Brie Tiessi's party. Mary kind of hinted that stuff went down off camera that made her feel that way. Well, Chrishell wasn't having it. She jumped right onto Instagram and basically said she was there for everything, both on and off camera. She told Mary straight up, "You were never in danger, girl." And she even called what Mary said really dangerous rhetoric. So yeah, things are pretty serious between them. And this drama, it's having real consequences. Like, remember the Season 9 premiere party? It was late last month at Gravitas in Beverly Hills, hosted by Brie. Well, guess who wasn't invited? Chrishell and Chelsea. Apparently, the organizers thought all the drama involving them might, ruin the vibe of celebrating the season. Nicole Young did get an invite, though. And get this, Chrishell and Chelsea apparently didn't even know the party was happening. So this was today's update about the ongoing Selling Sunset Season 9 feuds. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about the recent drama surrounding Jen Affleck and Whitney Leavitt following that Dancing with the Stars elimination. This whole situation really illuminates the friction between these reality stars, kind of giving us a preview for Season 3 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and also gives us some insight into Jen Affleck's home life with her husband, Zach. So the tension really erupted when Jen got eliminated from DWTS, right? And her co-star, Whitney Leavitt, was apparently spotted smiling while the host was making the announcement. Well, that prompted Jen to address their relationship on a TikTok live soon after. She definitely hinted strongly at a rift, okay? She said she would be rooting for a former Mom Talk person, but that, viewers would have to wait for Season 3 of the show to find out exactly why. Her dance partner, Jan Ravnik, even added to it all, commenting, "Too much drama for me." Now, this intense public stuff contrasts with how her marriage to Zach Affleck started. The couple met on Mutual, which is a Mormon dating app, kind of like Tinder. Zach had just come back from his LDS mission trip to the Dominican Republic when they started dating. Jen was actually planning her own mission, but ended up giving Zach an ultimatum. She decided she wouldn't go and suggested they get married instead. And, well, they did, about 10 months later. Right now, Jen's the family's breadwinner, which is a dynamic Zach apparently finds challenging sometimes. He's a stay-at-home dad for their 2 kids and occasionally feels insecure about his role, questioning what he should be doing with his life, even though he is grateful that this arrangement is possible for them.